So you want to go ahead and you have your outdoor voice and then your indoor voice. I was doing civil disobedience to see like what I'm at liberty to do outside. So a cop on the sidewalk, I'm done talking to cops, but just to see where they would go with what they would do. It was beyond extraordinary. But in all reality, to see how loud is too loud outside and disturbing the peace, air quotes, I found out what decibel I could use. And that's hard to describe on the computer because you can turn the volume up or down and your preference is your own. Private parking, I'm allowed to be in a lot. Yesterday I was in a lot. I walked into a handicap sign and to show disdain and myself, it was, I was glad to note it's better to walk into a double edge side of a sign because then it is reinforcements and doesn't allow for a bigger blunt force trauma. So it didn't really hurt as much as if it would have just been one edge. And this is what it is in jail other than shanks. They've got these like razors. If they're two razors side by side, you don't like really feel it as much if it was just one razor. I don't know if that's too disturbing, but it's something like that. And more doubling down on this is in my bike chain. I've been throwing my bike around like a rag doll on corners, and I know I shouldn't, but it's just I've done it because I'm one of them. And when I say it's not like this macho thing where I'm breaking 11 bikes, it's where a bike does break down and you're still riding it. There's a amount where it's too broken to ride. And knowing this difference is really similar to seeing what civil disobedience is by interacting with cops. And when you've hit a plateau, you definitely know when you've turned a corner. Because then you can see one of them crying wolf to a sergeant, and it's night and day. But when it comes to a bike chain, it's it's better to have two sides on it than just one. Now I can't find which one of these have a broken edge, but then the edge on the other end isn't broken. So it's allowed for the entire bike chain to be usable despite it having one broken side. And I think that's why we've got two lungs, we've got two nostrils, two eyes, 2 feet, you know, this kind of thing with homeostasis, with what a backup might be when things come in threes. It would be your whole body is a third to the second, because we've got pairs, but your body doubles as in homeostasis and extra. I'd like to make 3 shirts. One of them is dedicated to tree huggers. It would say the tree huggers on the back and cicada on the front, because what cicadas do in a hurricane is cling onto a tree, even though if it was dangerous enough to go elsewhere, I mean, even if it was more dangerous to stay there, the cicada would hang onto a tree in a hurricane, and that's how it would end its life. And tree huggers are something like, I hug walls, so I can relate to them. Hugging a wall is one way where you don't get sandwiched in a lane, because the side is an escape. It's like the only thing that can penetrate an arc is if you get in its side and its siding isn't finished. Aside from a cage, the only way to eliminate someone from a cage is to get in one next to it. And I know that's super abstract, but the timeless scenarios will say that. I'll show you a plethora of scenarios where it's true every time in excess in later, so stay tuned for that. My second shirt would say ladies first for life. And my third shirt would say, oh yeah, it was just one adjective. It was really strong. Shoot, I can't remember. It was not resistance. It was, Oh, and here we go. If Trump can get indicted and have to go to court for 36 different money embezzlements, whatever they call it. It was this thing where they're playing politics with business, where the banks allowed Trump to have like an extra amount of money, and they didn't like it in the federal level, but they it was totally adequate because the banks were allowing it. And the more that the feds bully around banks, everyone is in trouble, because at any point of time, the banks can get closed and then the central bank take over, and that's what the Federal Reserve doubles as. So as you have two hands, the federal bank is a centralized bank, and the Federal Reserve is the other hand. And so both of them together, and they treat us as if we're the third body, as closing any banks isn't a matter of time because they have infinite ones. And if this doesn't make sense, it's the same reason why Trump's going to court for these things. It's in tax. You can get nitpicked with this stuff. And it's the same, I see it as, if you've been hired by a firm and now you're surrounded by entities. And so this is a thing where it's like an inner pole. You can go under pole. No, don't go under pole. It's an inner pole, outer pole, but don't go under the pole because you could get injured. I know this inner pole stuff's hard, and the example with cages canceling is hard, but believe me, these two are pinnacles of patterns that I'm going to use to defy what tyranny is on the scales that will last for thousands of years.